Amen. All my hope. All my hope is in Jesus. Did the preacher run this battery dead, sister? I heard that y'all had some good preaching while I was gone, both for puppets and for the living.
Is it double or triple?
Huh?
Double or triple?
Double or triple what? Oh, I think I'm doing okay. It shows green. It's double though.
I don't see green.
It must not be on. Mine's on. Is it not picking me up? I'll probably need to reset it. I'll probably have to reset it. Something like that. Just line. That's okay. I'll try real hard to be heard. I know I'm real quiet, kind of soft-spoken. I'll do like, I think it was it Teddy Roosevelt? Speak softly and carry a big stick. I'll speak softly. How about if I speak loud and put down a big stick? That sounds better, doesn't it? Does anybody know what 11 is? Somebody jumps up and says 33. No.
No, that's our Mrs. Day. 11/11/11 is the day they ended World War I.
What was that like? Was it pretty good that day?
With
Brother, it had to be somebody like us that was older that would understand what that was. 11/11/11 was actually the day that they ended World War I. I'll see if I can pull that up real quick. I actually got that in here.
I heard that some of the guys there were so quiet they couldn't sleep at night. They heard bombs for years. When it ended, they bombed right up to the last minute, 11 o'clock. At 10:59, there were people getting killed. And at 11 o'clock, they quit. And they couldn't sleep for weeks. People couldn't because they were so used to the room at night.
Eleven, 11 was the day that World War I, that Germany was fixing to be invaded by the Allies. They were, I was going to see if I could pull it up here. I had it earlier on one of the ones. It actually had it wrote out exactly what was all said. Somehow I lost it. That's one thing bad about phones. Let me see if I do it this way. It's commemorate every year on the 11th of November to mark the armistice signing between Allies of World War I and Germany of the campaign of France for a cessation of hostilities. That's not the one either. It was so good. At the 11th hour, on the 11th day of the 11th month, this is it, in 1918, the Great War ends. At 5 a.m. that morning, Germany, bereft of manpower and supply, and faced with imminent invasion, signs an armistice agreement with the Allies in a railroad car outside of Champagne, France. And brother, I want you to realize that something happened on that day. And how many has ever heard anything? Now, I went back to 1918, and I know nobody was alive probably this, or maybe they were alive. Or is anybody here that was alive during that? I don't think there's anybody that old. We don't have anybody that old. World War II, even when it ended. I don't think we have any that old. Yeah. Well, no, it wouldn't be that old. 1918 it would be. 1949 and 1950, when World War II ended, there'd be some that were close to that. I'm a 64 baby, so I was a little bit after. But anyways, World War II, the same thing, almost the same type thing. And now I want you to get a picture of this. What has been going on is World War I, which they were sure would be the war to end all wars. Then World War II, we finally get involved. And we're not talking about, how many knows that in the Iraq War there was like, I think there was like 36 or 3,800 American soldiers that lost their life in the Iraq War or something like that. Well, in World War II, there was millions. They had some days, there's some battles that were hundreds of thousands were lost in a day. And, you know, I never knew this, brother, but in the Korean War, when I was looking at the monuments, when I was in the Korean War, there was over 1 million that were never even found. Missing in action. 1 million people just gone from planet Earth. But I didn't say that to just bring you down. I brought to this point for the title of my message, because I wanted to show you that I don't know what happened in 1918, because but I have seen pictures and I have seen newsreels of what happened from maybe old movies that they showed the newsreels of what happened when World War II, when they called for a ceasefire. There was a celebration that wasn't just in America. The whole world, oh well, maybe Japan and Germany, they weren't celebrating too much, I doubt it. But I think even some of the people in those countries, yeah, matter of fact, I said that, but if I remember right, I've actually read, and there's some things that you don't know, but a lot of these countries, the people in those countries had no choice. A lot of them didn't want to be at war. And so yeah, there was but there was a worldwide celebration at, it's over. Ceasefire. It's done. It's over. We can finally have peace. And that's what I'd like to title my message this morning. Ceasefire. Ceasefire. I'd like you to read a scripture, if you don't mind, in Matthew chapter 5, verse 9. Jesus is on the mountain. He's given one of his most historic messages that has ever been taught or preached about. Jesus is preaching himself, and he is going through the Beatitudes. Does anybody know why they call them the Beatitude? Because God says, blessed are you if you have this attitude. And one of his Beatitudes, and the one I'd like to talk to you about this morning is, blessed are the war makers. Oh, I'm sorry, brother. It does say peacemakers. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God.
Amen.
I'd like to pray. Father, I pray, God, that you just help me, Lord Jesus, to bring forth your word the way you want me to, but God, more than that, God, I pray, Lord Jesus, that what do we want to be called in life? Do we want to be called the children of God, or do we want to be called trouble? Do we want to be called those that, Lord God, are causing strife? Lord God, let us realize, blessed are they that are called peacemakers. In Jesus, your name, amen. We live in a world, you know, back in, I go back further than that, so I can go back to the 80s. I think it was in the 80s they had a song that said, give us your dirty laundry. They just loved it. People, have you ever noticed that? Why do you think these shows on TV, I'm like, have y'all ever seen some of the commercials? I'll be honest, I don't watch those shows. If you do, man, I'm going to be praying for you. But, man, some of these shows on TV, all they want to do is, you know, that's, what was his name? Jerry Springer? Man, that's all he wants to do is, man, if I can stir up some steam. He says, blessed are the peacemakers, but man, am I getting rich by stirring trouble. Amen? Oh, Jerry Springer, I guess he made money off of causing trouble and stirring up whatever stinky. He'd have those people just, they'd be fighting. He'd have to have armed guards all the time. He had to have big guys bouncing because these women and men would be wanting to tear it. I mean, I never seen anything like it. Every time, I don't think I ever came across that channel and he'd be doing something. Wouldn't even know what the topic was, brother, but I knew it was him because people go on to kill each other. And that must be a Jerry Springer fellow. And some people, that's where they live. They like to cause turmoil. And we live in a world that people want to live. Can I bring it down to high schoolers and to the school age? All the drama. They just love the drama. How many of y'all have friends like that? Okay, how many of you are like that? It's just you put your hand up kind of slowly. I wish Sister Tori was here because I think she loves drama. And she needs a crown. Don't you think, Sister Leanne, that Sister Tori is probably the drama queen of the church? Yeah, she likes drama.
We need to bring Susan.
Susan, yeah. No. God help us. She didn't mean to say that out loud. It was a little voice that got loud. God help us to realize. I want to show you something in today's message. Being a peacemaker takes the Spirit of God.
Amen.
The spirit of the flesh is to be that troublemaker. Amen? If I took you, and I don't have time this morning to take you through it, but you know, it talks about that there are some, you know, we've talked about the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, all these other ones. I could go down, kindness, meekness. But then there are some, let's call them fruits of the flesh. Gossiping, slandering, murdering, all these things. You know what? A big part of those are trouble. Trouble. People love the flesh. I'm not going to say people. The flesh loves to cause turmoil. And who is in charge of the flesh? Well, I am in charge of my flesh. And who likes to feed my flesh? We talked about it in our Sunday school. Our class was on trials this morning and how to overcome trials. Well, let me tell you what, we go through trials, but I told the class at the end of the class, the truth is, and it's not the same message, but it has the same answer. Trials, the enemy of our soul doesn't like it when we learn how to handle trials. When you learn that by the blood of the Lamb, holding on to Jesus, by the word of our testimony, my God has delivered me through everything else. He will deliver me through this. I don't have to worry about that. And it ends with, in Revelation 12:11, it ends with this. It says, and listen, if you get to the point where your word or your testimony and you hold on to Jesus, and not even death has a hold on you, you don't care even if you die, you're still not going to succumb to whatever's coming against you. The enemy doesn't like to live there. The truth is, those trials are going to become a lot smaller when you realize that, listen, I don't care what I go through. I'm going to become stronger in this trial. Listen, this is the same way. The enemy, it loves to do what? Cause drama.
Amen.
The enemy thrives in drama. At the beginning of this message, I brought up something. I titled this message, Ceasefire. Well, in order for there to be a ceasefire, there has to be what going on? There has to be war first. There has to be an escalation of violence. In order for there to be a ceasefire, there had to be some firing going on first, right? What does war bring? Think about it. Just think about it. I'm bringing it down to its basis nature. What does war bring?
Death, strife.
Death, strife, destruction. Just everything. Disease. I mean, I'm not talking about 1949 or 1918. I'm talking about today. There are wars going on in our world right now. While we're sitting here in the comfort of this building, there are wars going on. And guess what is happening in those countries? Thousands. I was on the way home. I heard on the radio. 80,000 people have been displaced from this one in Somalia. I think just in the last few weeks or something. Thousands have been killed in the last few weeks. I don't know how many, just some little skirmishes going on that, you know, there has been over the years, if you'll listen to the news, go on there right now if you want. If I had time, I'd have the sister bring it up. And I bet if she punched in war, that we'd find out there's about 10 or 15 of them going on right now. Some of them have millions of people that go across the borders to get out of their country. And when they get across the border, the country that they go to, what do you do? Hey, Brother Kerry, you got room at your house for 1 million people? I tell you what, you take 1 million, I'll take 1 million, Brother Lynn. I know out there at the farm you can surely handle 1 million people. We'll just feed them. They go across the border, and then it just, what happens? There's not enough water, there's not enough restrooms, there's not enough anything. Think about it. I don't mean to be crude, but millions of people without water, without restrooms, things are going to get rough, and they're going to get there real quick. Disease, strife, hunger, sickness, death. That is war. Who do you think thrives in that kind of climate? The enemy. Why has God called us to be peacemakers? Because we are not supposed to be destroying. We're not supposed to be tearing down. We're not supposed to be killing. We're not supposed to be causing strife. Amen? God calls us to be peacemakers because guess what happened after World War II? One of the biggest rebuilding that has ever happened in the history of the world. Am I not right, Brother Lynn? You know, we bombed the snot out of Japan, and then we... Huh? The Monroe Doctrine. Then we went to rebuilding what had been destroyed. You know, hey, we got to fix this back. War has killed millions, cost millions and billions of dollars. It's cost lives, it's cost sickness, it's cost... Now we got to rebuild it. That wasn't even in my notes, brother, but I got to tell you what. That should make sense to us. That listen, quit tearing down things, because sooner or later you're going to have to rebuild it. Am I right? Why is it better to be a peacemaker, Brother Kyle, than a war maker? Because it's much better to just keep the peace than to cause strife, and then later on, how many of y'all like having to go and apologize? Oh, that's one of my favorite things to do. Oh, I just love eating humble pie. How about y'all? I'm so sorry. I was such an idiot. Oh, that's one of my favorite things to do. How about you, Brother Kyle? Love it, don't we? We should love it, because we got to do it all the time. We should get it together. Truth is, guys, here's a good reason not to be a war maker, but to be a peacemaker. And I know you're thinking to yourself, I don't make war. Don't we? Don't we with the words of our mouths? Can I tell you something? I can remember back when I was first a Christian, and I had, and I have them now. You'll have those opportunities that you could speak life, or you could stir something. And I can remember as a young Christian, Brother Kerry, and being naive and kind of stirring things. I had a guy that went to a church that I knew the people in the church, and I knew him. He was a good guy. And he popped off something, and he popped it off all over town. Well, he was saying it about a job he worked at. Well, the guy he worked for was a best friend of mine. Or not a best friend, a good friend of mine. And this guy was a brother. This other guy that owned the business didn't even go to church. But the guy that was popping his mouth, what he was doing was saying, I'm the one that gets all the business. I'm the one that gets them all the business. I'm the one that... And you know what? It's just something... And you know what it was? It was that flesh. I didn't like hearing all that stuff. And so, I know now that all I was doing was causing some drama. I went and told my buddy that owned the business, hey, this guy that works for you, he was a brother in the Lord, yet something inside of me was just like, And I went and told the guy, I said, you know, he goes around town and telling everybody that, and he was. He did do that, but that's still not my place. My place was to be a peacemaker. What I should have done, Sister Sharon, is gone to that brother in the Lord and said, brother, you might ought to quit talking like that. Mm-hmm. You know, it's going to get back to him, and he's going to fire you. You know, he's not going to take it as well as you think he is. He shouldn't have been, but I had no business in being a troublemaker, a war maker. I was supposed to be a peacemaker. Instead, I went and told the guy that owned the business, and guess what happened? Just what I thought. He got fired. And you know, there was a part of me at that time that was like, you deserved it. Going around all smug like you knew and you were the reason. Does that sound like a Christian to you? Does that sound like a child of God? Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Does that sound like a child of God? Honestly. I was going to church just to pay. Well, you can label yourself what you want, but unless you become a peacemaker, you are not a child of God. Is that not 2 and 2 still 4? 3 and 3 is 6. If you're not a peacemaker, if you're a troublemaker, then you're not a child of God. Because if you are a peacemaker, it says you are a child of God. So I would think the other side of the coin would be, does that make any sense to anybody else but me? God has called us to be people that look for ceasefire. I know some of y'all are going, what does this have to do with me? Really? So none of us ever run into confrontation. Can I tell off on myself? I didn't have that in my notes either. I wish I didn't. Last night at Disney World, we're there. We've been staying up till 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning every day. Running up and down these parks. I am wore out. I'm tired. And we're standing there on the last night, and it was the last night, and we decided we'd watch Tinkerbell come down the line out of the castle, and we'd watch the fireworks, which are spectacular. And we're standing there, and these women are sitting on a bench. We're talking about Disney World, millions of people there. And these people are sitting, everybody in the whole stadium, in all the streets are all standing up watching the fireworks. They had found a bench and they were sitting there, and we were probably, I'm going to say from here to here, they're sitting there, and we're standing here, and they stand, hey, we need y'all to move over or sit down. And I'm like, you got to stand up to watch the fireworks. And when we move over, there's a tree. You can't see. And so my daughter goes over there to stand by my grandson, because they're short, they can stand it. And I'm looking through the tree, and I'm like, hey, this is ridiculous. They need to stand up. I actually tell my wife that. Probably loud enough they can hear it, but they need to stand up. That's what you're supposed to do, stand up and watch fire. So my daughter walks over there, and she stands over there. The lady gets up again, and she takes her by the arm and kind of moves her and says, you need to move out of the way or sit down. And I get kind of bent out of shape. Man, you're supposed to stand up. That's what the whole park is doing, standing up watching this. You need to stand up. And I'm sitting there with the shirt on that has Jesus smack dab in the center of it. I'm sitting there telling him, you need to stand up. It was that one that says, it's got the big cross on it, and it actually says, oh wait, he's alive, in memory of, and then it says, oh wait, he's alive. I'm sitting there with my arms crossed watching this. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching it and I'm watching it. And then I go and get the stroller after it's all over and everybody's leaving and stuff.